Today's video is about the importance of drawing on prior information. So in the previous video we talked about the relationship between working memory and long-term memory. They learn about the quadratic formula or whatever. The first day it might be confusing. They go home, do a few problems. It goes into the long-term memory. They come back the next day. We try it again. They understand a little better. They're now starting to draw on prior memory. All right, that's the basic idea. Now I want you to understand the idea here of what it's like to have a coherent mental representation. That just means having a clear understanding, a clear picture of what's going on. And also, what does it feel like to have an overloaded working memory? So those are the main things I want us to understand during this presentation today. So to help us understand this, there's going to be a passage which was taken from Ruda 2015. It was a professor that I had during where I was learning about learning, and he was the one teaching the course, and I took this story that we're about to see from him, and it illustrates the idea very well about an overloaded working memory. So let me go to the next slide. And now I want you to read this, and at this point you might want to pause your video and just read this whole thing on your own, and when you're ready, done reading it, click play again. So now that you've read that, the question is, how much did you remember? What was it about? What was going on there? It was probably confusing. Hopefully it was confusing. And you were confused, and that's what an overloaded working memory feels like. Things don't make sense. We're confused. And the point here is drawing on previous memory, something we're familiar with. Then when we read it again, it will become clear. So this is the point here. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to bring the same passage up, but this time think about washing clothes. So now, again, read this passage with the thought of washing clothes, and notice how much clearer it makes, sense it makes. You're able to picture, make mental representations of what's going on, the washer, the dryer, the clothes, so on and so forth, and it'll make much more sense. So read this. You might want to pause your video, and when you're done reading it, resume. So the point here is relevant prior knowledge helps reduce the load in the working memory, which helps you form good, clear mental representations, and it helps us with learning. That's the whole point here. So this is one reason why we have them do homework. They come back, they do homework. We talk about it in class, we answer questions. This is all part of this whole process of something that's not making sense to have it making sense. So this is another reason why at the beginning of every class, I like to refresh your memory. Just take a few minutes and review what we did the previous classes. Bring that information up. Ask questions. Is anything unclear? Clarify, and then move on. So these are just some of the references that I used in this video.